Hi there, this is Brent. Welcome to my living room. We moved the location. It's a little hot in the kitchen, although I prefer to shoot over there. But thanks for being here. I wanted to make a video for you. I had a couple ideas that I wanted to share with you before I head out for the day. And it's kind of interesting because it's been a few months since my last video. And I love making videos, even though a little bit scary, but mostly really exciting. I really enjoy having the opportunity to speak with you, even though I don't know you in person. I just really like this format, and I just keep procrastinating it. But I found myself in an interesting new place in my own personal journey that I wanted to share with you, and so I want to tell you a little bit about that, and then tell you what I'm going to tell you, and that's going to be the video. So now you have an idea of the frame. So in the last video that I made, I was really big into the idea of self-discipline. And that's not a new thing, because I've just been into self-discipline my whole life, but with the exception of up until the beginning of this year, very frustrated with it. It's been a very big, sort of sticky, ugly, really painful type subject, because I would have these people in my life who had been able to put good habits in place. They would be able to make themselves go to the gym or have a healthy diet where they'd eat good foods, and they'd make sure that they don't eat bad foods, or they wouldn't, take in bad substances, and so forth. And I've been never able to exercise that type of self-control before. It's just been a struggle. Maybe you've felt the same way. And so this year rolled around, 2017. It was New Year's, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure out how to finally get good habits in place so I can become the Brent that I know I can become. And there was success. And as you can see in the videos that I've posted prior, how I finally cultivated self-discipline, parts 1, 2, and 3. And learned a whole bunch of stuff, including probably the most important one, which is being my own best fan, being my own friend, speaking well to myself, speaking highly of myself, and really just not being so hard on myself all the time. And because a lot of people don't know this, and I hope if you haven't learned this yet, I hope you can really learn it now. We tend to, when it comes time to put good habits in place, we do it under this sort of frame that we won't love ourselves unless we get the result. And then what happens is we kind of go into the discipline scared, and we're afraid of failure, and we just feel a lot of fear about it. And what are we afraid of? We're afraid of the flagellation and the self-punishment that will come if we fail. And especially if we're trying something for the first time, failure is quite likely. And so it becomes scary, and then we'll try it, maybe we'll fail, and we'll just not attempt it again for a long time until, maybe a couple of years down the road we feel compelled again. But to get a habit in place, as I've discovered, as we're discovering, it's quite foolhardy to expect to just put a habit in place and be like, I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to run 5 kilometers 4 days a week for the rest of my life, and it's going to be amazing. Really, what happens is we try something, and then we fail, and then we learn from the failure, and then we try again, and we fail, and we learn from the failure. And really, ideally, we want to look into the horizon, and we want to look maybe 20 failures into the future, because when we get to our 20th failure, we'll have a really good idea of how it works and how we feel about it and how to make it happen. And the learning will have taken place in our biochemistry. And even better, there's no sense of the sense of triumph tends to go away. We expect, when we put a new habit in place, we expect that maybe when we wake up 3 months down the line and we've been able to keep the habit up, we'd celebrate, good triumphs over bad, higher nature triumphs over lower nature. But when a real habit is put in place, nobody triumphs over their own selves. There's no sense of victory. It's just a sense of, this is just clearly the thing to do. This is just healthy. I like the results I get from it, so I'll do it. anyway, so I hope that's valuable for you. And so I've experienced success with that, but just yesterday, maybe it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago it was. I kind of had this moment in the middle of the day where, you know, I had this like diet in place. The diet lately has been like no bread, no dairy, no added sugar of any kind. Going to the gym 4 days a week, yoga on Mondays, getting up at a certain time, going to bed at a certain time. And it's been, you know, kind of, you know, structured and rigid and very good, you know, getting in shape and feeling good about it. But something just kind of happened where it's just like, I got this really, really strong message, or like at least like a strong inkling that it's, I gotta drop the whole thing. Like a hot potato. I just, there's no going forward anymore at this point. And it wasn't the sort of like, you know, like the, you know, old habits coming up and I want to, you know, overcome my lower nature. It was just like, it's time to stop all this. And so I've dropped it. So I, you know, for the last 2 mornings, and I imagine for the rest of the week, and for, I don't know how long into the future. I don't know. But no gym, no diet, nothing like that. Just you know, kind of, you know, we're going back into, I guess, caveman mode or something. And there's a sense of shame that has started coming up with it. But as the shame comes up, I'm kind of just, I'm not really turning it into a problem, and I'm not thinking about it, and I'm not like, oh, you know, trying to maybe get back on the train or come up with a new plan or something to kind of negotiate away the shame. But instead the shame comes up and I'm like, okay, let's feel some shame. Here we go. Okay, all right, not so bad. It's not so bad. It's okay. A little bit of guilt. Just kind of sip that guilt like a spicy, dank curry. You know, just it's so flavorful. It's like it's almost too much. But it's kind of weirdly good at the same time. That's how I'm going into shame and guilt. And as a result, finally, you know, the shame and guilt, which would just kind of like, you know, come up and come down and come up and come down, finally, it's gone. And now I can honestly say to you, there's no shame, or at least much less. A little bit still, but we're down to 10%. And so therefore, one of the things that I came here to say, that I wanted to say to you, is it's really helpful to approach our spiritual and our personal growth, our personal evolution, with a sense of respect and a sense of deference, as in to defer to something higher, and a sense of mystery. And what happens is we tend to operate in a certain sphere or a certain circle of what we know, and our very best strategy, for going about life and getting the results we want while avoiding the results we don't want. And we do that for a certain amount of time. And we operate within, very importantly, a sort of a mental model of how life works and how to operate within life. But any sort of mental model, when it comes to us, it always comes to us as a blessing, as a gift of grace. It comes as divine inspiration, and we're excited by it, and we're talking about it and preaching it, and then we use it, and then we ride with it. And sometimes we get too attached to it, or we attach to it for too long. There's nothing really wrong with it, with attachment, but we start to put all of our chips in it and invest everything we have into this model of reality being the correct one. Oftentimes beyond when it's useful, beyond its usefulness, beyond its expiry date. And And when that happens, the next thing to do is to realize if something isn't working anymore and to release it. It's almost like a grapefruit. When you you take a grapefruit and you cut it in half, when you squeeze it with a little bit of effort, you get a whole bunch of juice. And then you keep squeezing, and then you kind of eventually at a certain point, you get just the right amount of juice per effort. And then eventually you just get a few drips, and you're squeezing as hard as you can, and you're looking at the law of diminishing returns. Just nothing's really coming from it anymore. And at this point, a lot of us we're just so used to it, and it's all we think about, and we're in tunnel vision mode, and so we're like, well, man, I'm just going to squeeze harder. Maybe if I just keep squeezing harder, then eventually it'll be like when it was full again. But of course it won't. This is the time when we throw away the rind, and we kind of create some empty space in our lives for the next thing to come in, for the next insight, for the next new way. And so one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video was to give you an opportunity now to look at where you are, because all of us are in different aspects of this cycle. If you have like a way and it's working for you and it's just juicy, so to speak, and you're getting a whole bunch of benefit out of it, then bless you. I hope it bears all the results. I hope you get a lot out of it. But if you find yourself squeezing too hard on fruit that isn't juicy anymore, or for example, if you find yourself hurting the golden goose from Aesop's fable, to use a different metaphor, it might be time to, as I am currently, to drop everything and withdraw your attention out one level. Withdraw your focus so the greater gestalt can come into view, and also to withdraw your energy from moving forward and just coast on the momentum that you have, and just just only expending as much effort as is necessary to just kind of keep everything going, and just create lots of space and create some time to meditate, which was the other thing I wanted to talk about. Thing number 2, meditation. Because that is what I was doing. I was kind of like, I've been juicing my grapefruit to keep this going, juicing my grapefruit. And I've been getting a lot of I've been going forward with personal coaching. That's what I've been doing, as well as a few other things. And then kind of all the results were tapering off. And I was sitting here, and I was sitting literally over here. I was meditating, and I felt this strong compulsion to make this video with you. That's that. Okay. So now meditation. I talked to a lot of folks who seem to be a little bit confused about how to meditate and what meditation is for, and I hesitate to do this just a little bit. Actually, that's not even true. I'm not hesitating, but there's a lot of information on what meditation is, and as I say this, I'm almost aware of the great breadth of data that's already offered on how to meditate. And what I want to do is I want to offer my own perspective on it, and I would ask you politely to suspend any prior ideas that you have about meditation, what it is or what it isn't, how you know if it's working, what the benefit of it is, and just if you could really just take all that and just put it over here for a second, and let me offer you what I found about meditation. It might really help you, because it's to be able to meditate is key. It's very, very key, very important if you desire to expand to the next octave up. If you wish to expand your consciousness, if you wish to grow to the next level as a person, meditation is key, because meditation is it's not so much an activity so much as it is an allowing of things to settle as they are, so that a greater perspective can come in and kind of dissolve the boundaries between your perspective and the greater one, so that you can see more clearly. So to meditate, what's required in meditation is usually sitting down. It can be cross-legged, or it can be on a chair with your feet flat on the floor. And it can be with your eyes open, but it's generally better if your eyes are closed. And what you're doing when you're meditating is essentially nothing except drawing your attention to what is there in your inner landscape. And this is something you might hear me saying often. You are approaching your inner landscape, and I mean physical, mental, emotional, the whole thing, your whole field. You're approaching it as if you were a scientist. You are approaching it as if it were somebody else's field. And by that I mean you're approaching it with curiosity. What a lot of us are caught in the mode of, we're caught in the mode of looking at things in our inner field, or in our physical circumstances for that matter, but in the case of meditation, in our inner field, looking at things that we don't like and instinctively attacking without hesitating, attacking without thinking about it, just being in attack mode. As soon as you see something that's that shouldn't be there, it's like a computer program, and it just executes as soon as it appears. And little do we know that it's being in the mode of attacking elements of our own inner landscape is what creates turmoil and creates suffering in our inner field, and thus causes physical manifestations, physical symbols of that inner conflict to arise. So if there's turmoil inside, then you may manifest problems in your relationships or in your career or whatever it is. There's usually a correspondence. And so meditation is we're not adding anything, and we're not doing anything about anything. And so we are just, you can even try it right now while I'm speaking. I'm just gonna stand here, So you're sitting with your eyes closed and just looking inside, and whatever is there is allowed to be there. And often something will come up. As soon as you go into meditation, something will come up to take your attention, and it will communicate a certain urgency, like this needs to be thought about right now. We need to figure this out right now. We need to get up and do something about this right now. And while we're meditating, in this little time we have together, you are not heeding that message. You are making a blanket statement, which is that there's nothing that urgently needs to be taken care of right now. And so therefore, any urgent messages, you are free to let them pass. You don't do anything, you don't stop it, you don't fight it, don't speak with it, you just let it pass, you just let it go. And so as you come into meditation, there will be waves of urgent thought stuff, and it's just, whew, all right, okay, all right, and then back to center. Whew, okay, all right, back to center. And so the activity of meditation is therefore to come back to center, is to be in the center, or to come back to center. I'll say that again. You are centering yourself, or as soon as you realize that you inadvertently got swept up in a thought, you just come back. Just come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. And eventually the intervals slow down, and they become smaller, and then you find yourself nice and firmly planted in the center of your being. And it's nice. It's really nice. And then what happens, like when you become nice and centered, nice and rooted in yourself, in your body, in your being, you're nice and rooted, then all of the energy that would ordinarily come up and take over your mind and draw you forward, all of that, instead of picking you up, it goes, and more energy just goes up and out, and you become more and more still, and you become more silent, and you become more aligned with the present moment. You, in a strange way, you blend in better with the present moment. It's almost like you become furniture, although I realize that doesn't sound so good, but you are less concerned with sticking out and being apart from things, and you're less concerned with existing and with like the frantic maintenance of life, and the clinging kind of style of trying to offset death, less concerned about survival. Not that you give up survival, but just less concerned about it, and less concerned about threats and so forth. Give me a second. The final thing, right? Okay, the final thing, really important thing. This is really just if it is your desire to come into great spiritual healing and to become aligned with peace, and if you're watching this video and if you've watched this far, then it almost certainly is yes. If you find that peace is your highest priority and wellness is your highest priority, as opposed to, say, getting and accumulating and achieving and protecting and guarding and so forth, if it's just peace and wellness, then the purpose of meditation, the great purpose of meditation, is to bring your attention as deep into your own self as you can, to become as acquainted as possible with your own inner self, and to become acquainted with the feeling tone that you are offering the universe at all times. Feeling tone is a term that I got from the Seth material, The Nature of Personal Reality. Very, very cool book. I highly recommend it. Nature of Personal Reality, a Seth book by Jane Roberts. And then one of the first ideas is the feeling tone that you're offering. If you even feel into it right now, just behind your conscious thought, behind all your plans, behind everything, what are you? Is it like, it's generally like a base emotion? Is it fear? Is it sadness? Is it peace? Is it anxiousness? What does it feel like to be yourself? You can ask that question, what does it feel like to be me? And you answer the question without good, bad, okay, great, no evaluation words. You answer it with adjectives. So for example, for myself, a little anxious, a little upset, even if I look like I'm in a good mood, which I am, but underneath, scared, sad. There is sadness here, and that tends to be the case for all of us, for essentially everybody. I'm quite sure for most people, if you really peel back all of the distractions and plans and goals, and if you peel back the grid work of past and future and story and ego, you'll find a suffering. You'll find it's not so nice, but you'll find unresolved sadness or unresolved painful emotion that's being ignored, almost certainly. And so what we do is we just become acquainted with that, and we bring our attention to it. And if we bring our attention to the sadness, just chilling with it, again, like a scientist, we just chill with it, we just spend time with it, we just look at it, we just give it some attention, then you'll notice it starts to heal. It starts to dissolve. You'll really notice it. There's a huff of relief, and it will dissolve and just become lighter, and there will just be empty space where there was once sadness, for example. And you just bring your attention to it, and you just look at it, and it dissolves, or it becomes smaller. You bring your attention to it again, and it dissolves a little bit more. And then meditation is not like something that, like a weird habit that you have to put in place or whatever. Meditation just becomes a source of healing. It becomes a way to become more and more peaceful, more aligned with peace, more still, less anxious, less concerned, less frustrated. And able to enjoy life, able to create more deliberately, able to feel good, just feel all right all the way down. Oh, okay. That's it. That is the message. We've been through a lot. I hope you enjoyed this. Would you please let me know if you did? I would really get a kick out of it. And I'll catch you later. Let me know if you have any questions, because if you let me know what the questions are in the follow-up email, I can clarify and it'll just get better. Cool. Okay. Have a good day. Bye-bye.